First of all, I want to make a shout out to Anne Toomey because I just texted her privately, but I've been using her article since 2009 in my art community technology class. And it actually breaks down different ways that you can work in a community and do community development. And I'd like to make this connection to storytelling with your article, actually, right? Because there's a deep connection to, you know, whoever is the media maker or the person who has the tools to have the story be told. How are they engaging with the community in a way that's respectful of the community and that positions the subjects of the story in a place that's truly empowered? And that's like a daily practice to strategize that. But to me, that's really at the core of how I think about storytelling, is trying to think about the different roles I play as a media practitioner and as a community organizer using media. So just want to thank you. And it's really fun that we ended up here together. And that I could use your ideas so early on, before you even moved into the environmental realm, right? That guide me in my practice with community members and experimental documentary practice.
Thanks so much, Branda. That's exciting that it's been helpful. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. That article I actually wrote after my master's, and I'd been working in Nicaragua, and I wrote it because I think I went in with kind of a white savior mentality when I first started working in different parts of Latin America. I went when I was 21 to Mexico, and I think I'm like a white savior in recovery is how I describe myself. It's like, because I feel like a lot of training has taught, and when I was young, it was like, go make an impact, like go into the world and make an impact. And don't think about what people have done before, you know, the communities and like the legacy of the other people before you or the organizations that exist there and have been there for 30 years, just go and make an impact, right? And so it's been a long wake up from that mentality of, no, you don't do that. You first research and like learn about who is in the place and the work they're doing. And then, you know, after a long time of listening, you can start thinking about how you can actually make an impact, but it's a process, right? And I think it's something that like I am really, you know, struggle with my current students in very much trying to make sure that they don't, when I tell them, oh, I've been in like Mexico or Bolivia, like, oh, Professor Toomey has like gone to these places, I'm gonna go there. And okay, let's let's have a conversation, right? But it's a challenge. It's because I feel like there's so many like white savior films out there, and just like the narrative is just constant. And so like you have to kind of do what you can to challenge that narrative on a regular basis. And I think it's just something we all have to think about constantly, especially for an educated role, right?
Yeah, Anne, thank you so much for bringing that up. I think it's really important to be cognizant of these tropes, right? Like the stories that are sort of codified, and the ethics around storytelling, and that white savior narratives are very damaging and hurtful. And if anyone's not familiar with that terminology, that's talking about when white people come into communities and tell stories about Black, Indigenous, or people of color in a way that's not particularly respectful, that's really centering the white person and their savior role, as opposed to, as Anne mentioned, you know, all the groundwork that had already been done by a lot of those communities. So I think that's really important, that the role as a storyteller comes with certain ethical responsibilities, and that we should be really aware of that